All right. So welcome to Hope for Highlands Task Force meeting. Today is November the 10th, and wow, holidays are coming right up, aren't they? We have a busy schedule for today, our meeting. We're going to talk about our work groups and such, but before we dig into that, I would like for everyone to introduce themselves with your name and of course where you work. And then I think I had asked to share something that you would like to accomplish by the end of the year. If that's work related or not, does not matter. If it's fun or you know, a task that you're like dreading, does not matter. Whatever you would like to share would be fine. So who would like to start today? Natasha.
So I'm Natasha Lambright. I'm a community specialist at Volunteers of America. And the goal I decided to share today is a personal goal. We have at our work called Go 365, where you can get points for healthy decisions. And so my goal going forward to the end of the year is to try to continue to work on that. It's kind of a motivator to help me to be healthy for myself. And I know it's important to be healthy, for us to be healthy in order to better help those that we serve. So I figure that's an important goal for me for right now.
So true. Thank you for kicking this off, starting that today. Thank you. Who's next? Deanne?
I'm Deanne Shanklin. I'm with United Way of Central Florida. I'm the Highlands County Manager. And something I would like to get done before the end of the year would be my Christmas shopping, not all crammed in together at the very last minute to where it makes it so hectic and I can't have fun and I can't realize, you know, what Christmas is all everything. So I'm not sure how that's going to happen, but I would love for it to.
That's a great goal. I think I have that goal every year and it never works out. Perfect. So good luck.
Thank you.
All right, next.
I'll go.
Okay.
Good morning. My name's Sally. I work with Sally Fernsel. I work with healthy families, and a personal goal would be to do some deep cleaning at home.
Yeah, ouch. Don't want to go there. Nope. Have fun, Sally. I wish you the best on that.
I'm Bernadette Hansen. I'm a licensed therapist at the Children's Advocacy Center. Something I'd like to accomplish by the end of the year would be to have Sally Fernsler come to my home and do a deep cleaning.
Yes. All right. Love it.
Okay. Sierra Wingate, down here, the Family Resource Specialist down here at Family Resource Center on the Circle, in with the Circle Theater. And my goals by the end of the year is I'm doing some cleaning too. Yeah. Been donating clothes and just getting the old stuff out and just getting organized, basically, and spending more time with my grandbaby up in Bartow.
Oh,
I'm Annie Vincent. I'm a new member of Champion for Children's Foundation at the Family Resource Center. I'm CJ's helper, and I'm learning a lot. And my goal for next year is to learn more about this program so that I could help CJ help the clients that come in.
And she's doing a fine job so far.
Thank you.
you're both doing great. Thank you. Next.
Thank you.
Okay. My name is Katie Pippin with the Champion for Children Foundation. I do graphic design and admin. And Carissa will go next.
Oh, what are you working on this year?
Okay, so a personal goal is to incorporate stretching in the morning. And I really want to, I've never seen snow, so I kind of, before the year ends, I kind of want to take my children and see snow.
Or at the beginning of the new year, since
Yes,
you know, it
maybe
takes
February.
My name is Carissa Marine. I'm also with the Champion for Children Foundation, and we're all trying to be healthy. I am also, I've started a new morning routine, so I am trying to exercise more consistently.
That's good.
Thank you, guys.
Hi, I'm Katie in Parchment with Heartland for Children. And work-related goal is to exceed our number of 500 people screened for ACEs at our first location. And then personal goal is I have never had headshots done, and I need to get them done because we find awareness pictures for these events that I have to speak at. So I would like to get some headshots done finally.
Great.
Hi, I'm Jana Grooms, and I'm the, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
And
you
I'm
got
the-
it.
Okay, sorry. I'm the new clinical supervisor at One Hope United. So I'm here in Sarah's place today. I moved here from Illinois to get away from the snow. So I do not want to see any snow this winter. I can say that for sure. And I've been doing foster care for 18 years. In between Illinois and here, but my goal is to learn about foster care here because it is mind-bogglingly different than it is in Illinois. So I think that will be my goal for the rest of this year.
Very nice. Well, welcome to our group. Thank you for sitting in.
Hi, my name is Victor Garcia Herreros. I'm a family advocate, victims advocate at the Children's Advocacy Center. My goal for the end of this year, I coach soccer, so I have the desire to be able to improve these children as much as possible, and hopefully by the end of the year they would see some good results from all their effort.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Stephanie. I work with One More Child as a regional advocate. And a personal goal that I have is I have like a Christmas tree, but I left my Mardi Gras ornaments on the tree and then just shoved it in my closet. So my goal is to take the tree out of the closet, take off the ornaments, and then put on the Christmas ones.
I like it.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, who
Good
else?
morning, everybody. My name is Sarah Beth Rogers. I'm the manager of the Children's Advocacy Center, and a personal goal I have for the end of the year is to finish renovating at least one of my bathrooms.
Quite the goal to have, yes.
It's all just a mess right now, so I'm ready for it to at least one of them to be clean.
Okay. All right. Who else?
Hi, my name is Elissa Riggs. I am an advocate with One More Child as well as Stephanie. And one of my goals is I'm in the process of organizing my closet. So I would just love to get that done by the end of the year.
Very nice. And thank you for joining us today as well. Okay, I think Liz, are you the last one?
I suppose. My name's Liz, and I'm a victim advocate with the Highlands County Sheriff's Office. And one of my goals is to just try and get more projects done around the house. There never seems to be enough time to do things that I need to do for myself.
Very nice. All right. And my name is Anna Richard, and I also work for the Champion for Children Foundation. And goal of mine, I do need to finish painting my house, y'all, because I stopped when it got too hot, and I need to go back and do that. And I probably need to lose another 10 pounds before the end of the year. So I'm at 50. I lost 50, you guys. So I'm hoping for another 10 pounds at the end of the year. So awesome. Well, it's fun to see you all today, and thank you for joining us. Usually the first thing we do is go through our minutes. So I will quickly do that. And kind of like what I said, I think I had counted 17 participants last time. I mean 20 participants, but I only got 17 names. So if you were at the meeting last time, but sometimes you don't have a picture and your name is not connected to it. So if I missed you for some reason, I do apologize. And let me know that you attended so I can put that on the name list for that meeting from last time, if you're not on there. So last time we had asked you guys to define what the word community means. And I'm just gonna give you 3 examples of what was said that time. Natasha, you had stated that a community is for everyone in the town or county to come together and work together towards a common goal for those that are in need or are looking for resources. I thought that was really well put. Thank you. Victor, you had stated, community for me is a family of citizens that bands together with a common goal and vision for the greater good for their place to live. Wonderful, thank you. And Carissa, you had stated people supporting each other in unity. And that's what this is all about. Hope for Highlands is all about our community. So you all had such great definitions of the word community that I just want to share a little bit of that again. But to recap last meeting, we had quickly talked about the county commissioners meeting that we presented at and our Highlands kickoff event that we completed. And then we had also talked about a couple more of you had looked or seen the Wisdom of Trauma movie and gave some feedback on that. And if that ever comes back around again, of course, I will send it out again because it is that good. You should all be seeing it if it comes out again. And then we had a great discussion last time. And I think it was good to just have an open discussion. I know that Marisa started it off with, she had been to a school where she lives, and she had asked them what the biggest obstacle was in supporting the teachers from the admin from that school. And the answer had been, our biggest obstacle is trauma. So, I mean, that says a lot, and that really gives us the reason to why we're doing this, why we're coming together as a community to build a more trauma-informed community, to help and support and provide a hope and healing that we so desperately need, right? I'm not going to go over everything that was discussed. You guys have the video, you have the meeting minutes. But if anyone has something on their heart that they kind of wanted to add to that discussion from last time, you're more than welcome to do so right now, if anyone has anything on their heart or mind that I would like to share. Okay. So with that said, I had sent out emails to divide you all up in groups, and for the ones that did not get included in that, I know Tina, where's Tina at? Tina, for some reason I did not get your name on the email list, and I do apologize. But here's a good thing with that: you can choose and pick today which group you would like to join. So we'll see where everyone is standing and how things are going. What we're gonna do, we'll start, how about we start with the going from 0 to 2 and then up with the ages and see what we can get through or not today. If we don't get through them all, no worries. And yeah, let's kick it off. Do we have any representatives from the 0 to 2 age group with us today? Sally, do you want to do the talking?
Sure. Although I'm sorry, I don't have my notes in front of me, so it will be just from what I can remember from the only one meeting that we had, or at least that I was able to be present at, was this week. I believe it was Monday, or maybe no, Friday. It was Friday. And we started to talk about the 0 to 2 group, and we answered questions that Anna had presented to us. Anna, can you help me?
Yeah, so maybe we should kind of present the idea, because not everyone in this group today was at that meeting or don't know what the questions are. So really what I wanted to do, we are creating a guidebook for our community about trauma. So, and really in the guidebook is going to talk about how to become a more compassionate community with awareness and understanding of trauma, and how we can provide hope and healing to those who are, affected. So within this guidebook, I would like to have a couple pages for a particular age group. So we have the 0 to 2, right? So when you look at that age group, you would ask, how can trauma affect this age group, right? Maybe it starts with pregnancy. Maybe it's parental, attachment, or whatever it might be. So what the question really is, actually, let me see if I can find that question real quick. Okay, the assignment question that will guide your work is, what would you like to know about trauma for the specific age group that you're assigned? Think prevention, hope, and healing. What is the message that we want to relay to this particular age group about trauma? So for example, with the toddlers, or the 0 to 2 infant and toddlers, you might want to know information about the importance of, like I said, healthy pregnancies, healthy attachment, risk, signs, and symptoms of trauma for that particular group, and when and how to seek help, right? So then we take the same kind of questions through the other groups as we look at those ages and what kind of challenges that they're facing. Did that help, Sally?
Yes, it does. And I was trying to open up our the document we were working with.
Okay.
But I'm having a little technical difficulty, but to thank you for introducing that with those questions. And we were able to come up with some ideas. It's all about education and support and getting the information. We recognize that substance use and misuse with pregnant moms is one of the risk factors for trauma, and it also would influence that ability to bond and attach. That was one of the things that we identified.
And we talked a lot about education for the parent in particular, so that they can do a lot of preventative work. Because we really discussed like the prevention piece for that age with attachment, and just being cognizant of your own attachment style and how that affects your kiddos growing up. We talked about sensory processing disorder, postpartum depression, mentioned the ACEs for how that might affect you and then your child, and physical health issues. There's also a video that we added to the resource list. It's about shark music. So whatever you've experienced with your own family, that kind of background music plays in the back of your head when a child is experiencing a certain emotion like anger, sadness, happiness. You might have like some kind of belief about that emotion. And so when your kid presents with that, you might not be able to you might have a stigma against that emotion. And so learning about that and how to emotionally regulate your child was mentioned in that. But it's a Google Doc and we can share it once it's all edited and put together. But that's kind of some of the things that me, Sally, and our group worked on.
Awesome. Thanks. Okay, so in your group, we had Marissa, Cynthia, Sarah, Tuning, Stephanie, Sally, and Liz. Is that correct? Okay, awesome. So any feedback you guys, or ideas or suggestions for this group, what they're working on? Okay, we'll get back to it. Well, maybe we'll go through all the groups and then see how have a discussion at the end. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Sally and Stephanie. Thank you. All right, and then we have preschoolers 3 to 5, and that's Kelly, Kadian, Vicky, Raven, and Linda was on there. I know Mercedes had to step down because of health issues, of course, but who's doing the talking for that group? Bernadette, are you in that group too?
No. I could do the talking for it.
Okay, so Kadian.
So we met on October the 26th and just really started brainstorming about this age group and kind of what are some of the things that this age group is developing within themselves. So we determined or came to a conclusion that this is a very critical age for kids in their development, because at this point they're developing trust and they're starting to remember things. 3 to 5 can instill trust, healing, and equip the parents to prevent additional trauma. So we want to look at what's normal versus where the child is at. And we also discussed how there's different projects in the works that is also addressing that this age group, including the Build Back Better plan, where they're looking at childcare for this age group and affordable childcare. Reducing trauma through affordable childcare can help with visibility, community connections, and making sure that the kids feel like they're grounded and a part of something. So we thought that even that is an important aspect for this age group and reducing the incidence of trauma, because if they are visible to the community, then that helps with just mitigating some of the potential abuse, neglect, and threat and harm that may come if they're not able to afford childcare or have accessibility to childcare. And then how do we reach these moms and families in this age group before it gets to the point of it becoming overwhelming? Because again, we are at an age group where they're not necessarily mandated to be in school. So we have the 3 to 5 year olds, maybe at 5, they're going into pre-K, or 4, they're going into Head Start, but that's not mandatory for them to participate in Head Start or anything like that. So we discuss places that we know that they have to go, like the doctor's office, or if they're on WIC, going to WIC. So how do we get the messaging out through those avenues, as well as like if they are in daycare and community centers or any activities that they may have. We also discussed some safe sleeping practices, even for this age group. And then we decided that we wanted to break it up into different areas, because we pulled the CFOP for the Department of Children and Families, which is like the operational procedures. And it had it broken down into physical. So physically, like where can we go? Playgrounds, the Rotary Park at Sebring Pier, Children's Museum, learn about physical activities through books, DVDs, fitness videos. And then we also broke it down into social and emotional. So learn about the social and emotional topics for parents so they have a better understanding about their kids and development here, and know how to de-escalate to prevent abuse or trauma that could happen as a result of abuse. And so we listed a couple different resources like books, DVDs, flashcards, meditation, and of course the library has a lot of books and stuff like that. And then we looked at cognitive. How do we help not only the child develop cognitively, but also the parent when it comes to understanding this age group and understanding how trauma affects this age group. So a couple ideas, of course, the library, and then STEM programs, ABC Mouse, access to ebooks, auto books. And so we're still in the brainstorming session, but we have this Google Doc that we've been working off of to really kind of put all this stuff together. And then we broke them down into these categories. So as we think of new things, jump on that Google Doc, put it on there, and then we'll meet back together probably later on this month to kind of see where we're at. So that's where we left it off at.
That's great, Katie. And I love it how you guys, first of all, connected it with Highlands resources. I think that's beautiful. That's great. That is exactly what we want. So that's perfect. And then breaking it up in those different groups, I think that was a good idea for sure to kind of help, you know, steer where the group is going with this. So that was great. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So next group would be the young children 6 to 12, and we have Sarah Beth, Katie, Sean, Sheila, Araceli, and Felicia. Who's doing the talking?
I can do the talking. Okay, so we never actually had a Zoom meeting or face-to-face meeting. There were some scheduling conflicts. So we communicated mostly through the email. And we are still in the brainstorming stages. There's a few group members that I didn't hear from. And we were sort of discussing the types of trauma in 6 to 12-year-olds, the signs that if a child is going through trauma, the signs that they are exhibiting, parental discipline, digital addiction, healthy interaction with parents, the power control wheel with it tailored to a child specifically. We also talked about getting some resources and statistics of child abuse and trauma, like local statistics, and divorce impact, foster care, drug exposure, bullying, friend groups, poverty, just a lot of healthy versus unhealthy, I guess, signs. So that's sort of where we are.
Yeah, that was a lot of information, Katie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. You guys make sure you don't get overwhelmed though, because I know that that's easy to do when you start digging into each group, that you realize there's so much, right? So as you get along, you just make sure you kind of, what is the most important message? Where do we want to meet this group at, and how can we best help overall? So that was amazing, Katie. That was a great list.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else in that group that want to add something to that? Or I think we have Sarah Beth on. I think that's it, Sarah Beth. Okay.
I am in Katie's group, but Katie has done all of the heavy lifting for our group so far. And Katie, I'm terribly sorry I've not been a very good group member, but Katie has set us up to, I feel like, succeed. So expect more from our group, especially me, in the coming week or two. I promise I will add some things to it, but Katie has really done a fabulous job outlining some really wonderful topics in our group.
That's great. So, and that gets me to another point is, I think we all understand that we have a lot going on in not only our work lives, but private lives. And there's going to be a balance to certain things where sometimes we can't do it all, and that's okay. But what I ask you to do is just to make sure you communicate with each other on that, and make sure that even if you can't do the work, to at least be that some sort of a support, or, figure it out within the groups. We're all adults, so I expect everyone to do something, but I understand also that we can't do everything, right? If that makes sense. So no worries. I'm excited to see what's to come. Our next group is the teens. So we have the 13 to 19s, and we have Carissa, Brittany, which I think is going to be Emily, and then we have Victor, Darlene, Carolyn, and Natasha in that group.
Okay, so I'll explain what we did. We met on Wednesday, November 3rd. Natasha was there, and Anna, you were there as well. And some of the other members, I don't know if they were out at the time. One of them was trying to get in, but she had difficulty. Darlene had some difficulty, but everybody's been in communication. So we have everybody on board. So that's good. Basically, we broke things down into, from the point of view of an adolescent. We used the framework of the resource guide that's going to be put together by Anna. So thinking of the resource guide as that point of departure, what the adolescent would be, how they would be perceiving and viewing the actual resource guide when they would get it, when they open it up and they would see it. If from the point of view of a teenager, that this guide would get to their hands, what kind of available information will we be able to provide for them so they're able to be aware, maybe for the first time, or maybe they know some of it, maybe they don't. So it's trying to be general as possible, not cascade them with information, but concise enough that we're able to get the point across. So we decided that we were going to break it up into 4 different sections. That would be specific to the teenagers. We broke it down to adolescent trauma, treatment, recovery or post-traumatic growth, and prevention. So we had our group members decide which one of us is going to be doing specific research on each one of those topics: trauma, treatment, recovery, and prevention. Those are our 4 key points that we have decided we would want to include in the resource guide. And we have all been working to put up our research and gathering that information, and then we will set up another meeting and actually put all our information together and see how the collaborative effort will come together. On my behalf, I pretty much already finished I chose recovery and post-traumatic growth, and I pretty much have everything set up as what I want to present to the group. I don't know how the other group members are and in what stage of their research they're in at the moment, but I'm sure I got a lot of information. My topics alone, just on guides for recovery, are going to be dealing with resilience, and I have information on that. I chose resilience, post-traumatic growth, and strength-based and affirmation, strength-based approach and affirmation. So that's a lot of information, but I have to figure out how to condense it all. So this teenager is not going to be so overwhelmed, and just got to get bits and pieces. Yeah. So that's where we are, more or less. And I'm looking forward to the next meeting, see how we can put it all together.
Okay. And I think that's a great idea that you guys had to divide the topic up with the trauma, treatment, recovery, and prevention way of doing it. I think that was a wonderful idea, and I can't wait to see what that leads to. So anyone else
wants to thank? We want to thank Victor as well, because he really took the lead and got us organized. So thank you, Victor.
That's awesome. Yeah. Anyone else in that group that want to add to it?
I was just gonna add that I chose the trauma section, and I'm still in my planning stage. Like you had mentioned, it has been difficult, but I'm going to make it happen. So I'm trying to create a list of different people I can contact in the community that can better share what they have experienced. So maybe, you know, I'm thinking of youth pastors and maybe principals or counselors in the middle school and high school area, and try to get an idea of what kind of trauma they've seen. So that way, whatever we decide to list in the resource guide will be more geared towards what is the most seen and noticed in Highlands County.
And you can contact me too. I see trauma all the time.
Yes, I can definitely add you to that.
But that's great, Natasha. Thank you for involving the community that way, right? And really figuring out what are the challenges right here that we're seeing. That is exactly what we want to do. So thank you for doing that. And Victor, thank you for taking the lead. That's great. All right. So, and then we have the adults, which is Kimberly, Lisa, and Stephanie. I'm sorry, I put you down on that one too, but I didn't mean to. So you can take yourself off of that. Amber, Michelle, and Ramona. And I don't know if anyone here is on that group. No. Okay. So this is actually a group that has not met or done emails or anything. So we'll see what happens with this group. I will have to follow up with them and see. So the last group then, we'll just quickly go to that one, is the older adults, 65 and up. And we have CJ, Yolanda, Bernadette, and Ingra on that group. So between CJ and Bernadette today, who would like to present on your group?
I can present what I have done so far. So I just did some basic research, and I came up with some of the areas of concern with that age group, that 1 out of 6 persons aged 60 or older have experienced trauma within a community setting. Trauma in the elderly can also surface decades after exposure. Rates can be very high, of course, within nursing homes and long-term care institutions. Since COVID-19 has happened, there's been an increase in trauma rates amongst the elderly. I think more have been because of isolation, an increase in depression, and maybe staff also being under additional stress. They may not have the level of gentleness and empathy towards the patients. Abuse of the elderly, trauma for the elderly can take place physically and emotionally. Trauma often will look different in the elderly as opposed to younger humans, and sometimes appears to be more of a health-related condition. If an elderly person has untreated childhood trauma and a history of high ACE scores, obviously that can drive later in life medical and emotional conditions. And the statistics are expected to increase due to the increase in our aging population and progress made in medical care. Risk factors include the victims who are dependent on their abusers, low income, obviously. Certain cultures may be more vulnerable and susceptible to trauma. Lack of support systems. These individuals are often isolated and lose their support systems. Also, the early trauma experiences and high ACE scores make them more vulnerable. And also, again, the level of isolation that an elderly person may be living in. As far as risk factors for the perpetrators, we're looking at if they have mental illness, if the perpetrators are financially dependent on the elderly person, that can also drive up the those events from taking place. If the abusers have a history of substance abuse. Also, people who find themselves in the position of having to become a caregiver for an elderly person may not be prepared emotionally. Their homes may not be set up to accommodate those individuals as far as bathing needs or just mobility needs within the home. So that all adds more to the stressor. and the actual person who may cause abuse to an elderly person, their coping skills may not be there as they need them to help that person. So that is definitely a risk factor. If the abuser has a history of exposure to childhood abuse themselves, family history of conflict, maybe there's unresolved business that has not maybe healed between the caregiver and the family member that they are trying to care for. Persons who abuse older people can, of course, be spouses, partners, adult children. Also, we have there's a high level of people who prey on the elderly as far as their finances, their assets, free living. They might be looking for free living. So they're a very high risk for being taken advantage of. Cultural norms can also normalize violence against the elderly. Women who are aged 75 to 84 tend to be at the highest risk, while men ages 65 to 74 tend to fall into more of a vulnerable bracket there. And of course, more women can be at risk for falls and fractures than men because of the changes in our bodies. The decrease in estrogen usually increases our bones as far as becoming more fragile. So the biggest issue that takes place with trauma on both sides are injuries. Falls, head injuries are huge, and of course fractures of the upper arms as far as or the upper extremities as far as falling, breaking something in the arm, and of course the hips are very, very common. Declining vision and hearing places those individuals more at risk for being traumatized. Obviously, there's balance issues that come with aging and cognitive decline. So once again, the more isolation, obviously, the less eyes that are on that person's well-being, the more vulnerable and at risk that population is for being traumatized through abuse. And then there's signs to look for in the elderly. Again, if they're being isolated, if the hygiene is not there, if they're not dressed appropriately for the type of climate, lack of utilities, things being shut off. Maybe there's been some odd type of withdrawals from their bank accounts. That could certainly be a red light that somebody is taking advantage of them and exploiting them. Obviously, some out of the blue, some new person is living in the home. And the elderly person might say, well, this is Dave. I met Dave at the grocery store. Well, Dave might be praying. Unexplained bruises, burns, sores, injuries on the individual. Medical neglect, not getting maybe their insulin or their high blood pressure medication. Maybe their medication is turning up missing. That's important to watch out for. The person's losing weight, they're not eating appropriately. There's nothing healthy in the refrigerator for them. Maybe they're being over medicated or their medication's not being monitored properly. Any signs of unexplained bleeding around the genitalia area or finding blood within the underwear could be red flag. And then, of course, prevention. The biggest factor in prevention is social supports and somebody who is checking on the welfare of that individual. Community interaction, decreasing a level of isolation and increasing social interaction one way or the other. Caregiver support groups and respite services are huge. That's one of the reasons why caregivers lose patience, especially with an individual who may have cognitive decline. They don't get any breaks. And so they start crumbling. They may be going through their own trauma symptoms and may be overreactive and just not be in a mental headspace that they need to be in to provide the gentleness and love and care to the elderly person. So respite services are huge if the person's still within their home. Monitoring for substance abuse, and that can take place both for the caregiver and the elderly patient, and making sure that providers and community members are educated about what to look for as far as signs of trauma and abuse of the elderly. So that's what I came up with. I haven't heard anything from anyone else in my group so far. I'm not sure what's happening.
Okay, I think we've kind of gathered some stuff. I know, I think Inger wrote some. I'm looking at my notes that I've found. And I'll have to check about getting everybody together.
Okay. So you guys have a lot of information, and I think your group really needs to get together to kind of come up with a plan and not be so overall, more so come up with your points, kind of like the breakdown that Victor was talking about, or Cadian, because there was a lot of information. And Bernadette, wow, you really took it out of the park there with a lot of good information to think about. And I'm so glad that we're including this age group in this work, because they often get forgotten or left out. So Sally, did you want to say something? Okay, I thought you were waving your hand.
Just a thumbs up.
Thumbs up, yes. So thank you for doing the work on this group too. And I hear a couple of you say that not all the members are involved. So what I will do is, I did this for a couple of your groups where I had to reach out person to person. So I will follow up again with certain people. But now when you have heard kind of what everyone is working on and their ideas, what is some feedback? What is the next step here? What are we looking at? I want to hear from all of you. I want to hear some ideas, and what are you going to do next?
Can I comment that first?
Yep.
I think that there's a lot of professionals on the call, and we have to think about our audience and making it very realistic and functional and applicable and user-friendly, and not just something that gets tossed in the corner. I love how Victor's group is going to be addressing the teens and making it like really catered to them. And I'm pretty sure that that's kind of where everybody's focus is. And I'm just excited to be part of it and hear what everybody's doing. Thanks.
Absolutely. Anyone else?
One of the things I took from everybody's information sharing, by the way, thank you everyone, that I really didn't think about when we got together in our group was the actual resource options that Highlands County has. When we were putting it thinking of putting this resource guide together, it was how to inform the kids or how to inform the adults of what trauma is all about and how to be aware of how to solve that problem. But it never occurred to me, we live in Highlands County, what resources and support possibilities do they have to go to aside from just reading a guide, and however that guide gets to their hands. So Natasha had said some things already about talking to people in the community, so that's good. And then just my light bulb went off about me doing more research on other resources that you can include in this resource guide. So teenagers, we're thinking along my group anyway, but it could be generalized for everyone's group, just avenues that they have to go to in the community. So they're able to say, okay, well, how can I practice, let's say, how can I be resilient? I feel pretty down in the dumps. What can I do to change my, my situation? What's there in this community that I can do? I feel like there's nothing to do, because they wouldn't have the means to know. But including that in there is valuable information, so they have an outlet. So have a way of going and reaching out and potentially getting out of their, situation and finding something positive. So thank you for that, because I had not really thought of it in that way.
Yep, that's great. Focusing on the age group you're assigned, so don't go too far away from that, and then focus on Highlands County. That is what this is all about. And then you kind of have to figure out what's the common message here within this group. What's the message that you want to share through this guidebook for this age group? For you that don't have an assignment, I said, Tina, Deanne, is this something you want to get involved in? I know this is your first meeting. And then we have Alyssa. Here's a suggestion I have, since our adult group has not done anything at this point. Would you mind if I assign the three of you to the adult group?
Let me just throw out an idea before I commit to that. Go ahead, Deanne. I think I can pull together something for each age group around autism. The 0 to 2 would be more focused on the family. 3 to 5, once they hit into some types of programs and what it looks like for them, and then all the way up through the elders. Okay. But if that's not doesn't meet what you're wanting, then I'll be glad to join the elder group.
Well, here's the thing. We can all share information to everyone as we want and as we, need. Like Victor did this morning, he sent out a document for everyone to benefit from. You're more than welcome to do that, but I would like to assign you a specific group. Okay. So, and Deanne, you said thumbs up on that too? Okay. So Tina and Deanne and Alyssa. Is Alyssa part of this?
Yes, that's fine. I'm good with
perfect. That. Wonderful. You guys are awesome. Okay. So before we end today, because it is that time already, Macy, I just want to share the quote that I put on the agenda for today. And it says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that's an African proverb. And I just want to share that with you because of the group work that we do. This is not about being fast and doing it alone. It's about taking time, getting the quality in, and doing it together. Part of Hope for Highlands is building our community, getting to know each other. This is why we always have to answer a question in the beginning, to get to know each other. Be that community that we want to be. So I just want to share that with you. And something else that I totally forgot about, even though it's on the agenda, is the previous little homework that I had assigned that I only got 2 responses from. And that is to please send in 100 to 150 words about there. Sally, thank you for your happy face. About information about your organization program that you would like to include in our guidebook as part of these community resources that we're going to be listing. So that's a great opportunity for you and your program to stand out and say, we are part of Hope for Highlands in building a trauma-informed community, and this is what we do. Including in that, please add a quote, about your vision for how Hope for Highlands will create a positive social change in our community. This is listed on the agenda for today, so you can find this on there so you know what you're doing. If you guys have any questions about any group work, members not attending, issues, concerns, this is why I'm here. You guys communicate with me, let me know how I can help. Include me in your meetings, in your group work, so I can kind of be involved as we move along. And other than that, you guys are awesome. You rock, you're outstanding, you're all champions. I hope you saw my little video. That was for you guys, as well as everyone else that's doing work in our community. And it's amazing. This community is amazing. And even though we can do better, look at you guys. This is it. This is you. This is what it's all about. So thank you. If anyone has anything else to add, please do so real quick, and then we'll end for today. All right. Well, no one can beat that.
I just have one thing.
Sure.
I just wanted to add tomorrow's Veterans Day. And if any of you served or you had your loved ones served and they're here with us, so they're gone, they passed away, I want to thank them for their service. They've done so much for us in this country. And I just think it's a special day tomorrow. Just wanted to mention it. So thank you.
And we thank you, CJ. Thank you for your service.
Yep. That's a great way to end this
Thank
today.
you.
So thank you all. I'll see you on December, was it 8th? December 8th at 11. Remember to reach out to me if you have anything that you need to talk to me about, okay? All right, I'll see you all then. Take care. Thank you.